I'd like to welcome to the stage our moderator, Black Women Film Network board member and my colleague, the Senior Director of DEI Production and Creative Partnerships at NBC Universal, Jaunice Sills. And our very special guest, you may know her from Lessons in Chemistry, How to Get Away with Murder, and currently starring on NBC's Grosse Pointe Garden Society, Emmy-nominated actress Aja Naomi King.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Awesome. Well, thank you. Hi, Aja.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. This is wonderful. Thank you for coming out today. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Congratulations on your honor. Aja is getting the Accelerator Award today at the luncheon, so let's give it up for her. Well, I'm really excited to be moderating this conversation today in front of this amazing crowd. This is the Black Women Film Network, and these are filmmakers and creators and actresses and producers, and they're really excited to hear from you today and learn more about your journey. Awesome. So we only have about 45 minutes, so I definitely want to just dive right in. There's a lot of ground to cover, hearing about your journey, and we're also going to watch a couple of clips from your new series, Grosse Pointe Garden Society. We'll do a little talk back, so you read unpack the scenes. But I want to start at the beginning, because actually just backstage you were talking about your start in the industry, and I think you have one of the most interesting starts. You were actually a PA, and now you're an Emmy-nominated actress. So let's start there. How did you start off your career?
I guess, yeah, really right there. So I grew up in a tiny suburb in Los Angeles called Walnut, California. And my mom worked in the film and TV industry. She works as a line producer and all this stuff. And so I was exposed to a lot of things, and it all seemed very exciting. And even though in high school I was, a cheerleader and in choir and in, drama club and all these things, I was consistently telling myself that I was going to aspire to be a doctor when I was older, because my father told me that you need to do something where you will always be necessary, and I was like, well, what is more necessary than someone in that field, obviously. But when I got to my senior year of high school, I've had many conversations with people about this, and I always refer to it as a breakdown, but Kerry Washington, bless her heart, was like, that was a breakthrough.
Yes.
But I had a breakthrough, and I was like, this is not what I want. This isn't the life that I want for myself, and I need to be true to my own heart and to my own desires, and actually go after the thing that I've been doing all this time. It's like if I looked at the evidence of my life, everything that I was doing and interested in and passionate about was always around performing. And so I had to allow myself and open up the possibility to myself that that could be something that I did. And for the most part, I was just like, if I could get to do a play in a regional theater somewhere, then that was a big enough dream for me. Oh, but God had other plans for me, so which has been and continues to be such a wonderful revelatory experience for me in this. And then my mother was kind enough to hire me on to some things, to be like, oh, well, you got to see what this is really like, what this world really is. And she was working for BET, and she brought me in as a PA. And for all of you that know, I'm sure you understand that when you are a PA, you are basically, it's like you're a volunteer. Like, it is the bottom of the totem pole in terms of production. And I was walking around with my little fanny pack, my little notepad, just taking notes about like, okay, get this many bottles of water and set up this space and make sure this person can get in easily. But what I learned there was how important it was to be organized, because I would watch the people coming through this and even when you were looking at the way the women here have organized this event, everything is so detailed.
Shout out to BWF.
Because that's the only way we can get anything done to achieve it. We have to have all of our ducks lined up in a row. There is a level of professionalism that is required of all of us when we are entering into this industry that we have to live up to. And I got to learn that from being a PA, and so I'm really grateful for that experience.
Awesome. Was there a specific moment, though, that you realized you wanted to pursue acting professionally?
Yes. My school had just done a play, and I was a part of drama club, but I couldn't participate in the play because I was a part of a lot of clubs. But I'll never forget, I had this moment where we were kind of breaking down things because I was participating with just like the cleanup and everything, and it was late at night, and for the most part everyone was kind of loading out and gone, and I had a moment where I was on stage by myself at this like tiny theater at my high school, and I was just standing on this stage alone, and this feeling just kind of washed over me of I belong here. And it was such a stark moment. It was like a thunderbolt went off, and I knew I needed to redirect everything that I was doing or aiming for, and pour that focus into pursuing this. It was such a tiny thing, and maybe it was just like a moment of calm where my true desires were able to finally like break through in my mind. You know, that just that moment of quiet where you hear that tiny whisper in the back of your head saying, this is it. This is for you. And it was a beautiful moment. And it's like I can see it in my head. I can see myself there. I can see the room, and it's like, yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, you've had several credits under your belt. And one of them was when you were cast as a series regular on Emily Owens Indeed, which is on the CW. That show only lasted one season, but 1 year later, you got like one of your biggest roles, which was How to Get Away with Murder. So I'm sure that was like an emotional roller coaster, basically getting on a canceled show to then landing a show starring Viola Davis. Can you just talk about that transition, particularly for like the actors in the room?
Yeah, talk about the ups and downs of this industry. Getting that Emily Owens job, there's so much there. I warned her beforehand, I get really verbose. I can't help myself. Yes, I'll never forget this. So, with Emily Owens, that was like back in the day when there was still like a pilot season, February would hit and you knew there were gonna be opportunities to go out for all these things. And it was my second pilot season that I was out in LA, and I was auditioning for stuff, and getting close to things, or at least in my mind, getting close to things and them not happening, and just feeling like, but I'm on the right path. And then the job of Emily Owens came along. And I was so excited because I was like, I can see myself in this, I can totally do this. And I remember like going through the audition process, and they seemed to really like me, and I was so super excited. But then, right when I was supposed to have my like final test, and a test is when they negotiate the contract beforehand, you sign it outside the room, like your agent calls you and they tell you you can sign the contract. And then you go into the room where you have the director and the showrunner and producers, and you do this final audition for them. And when you leave that room, it is on them to decide if you have the job or not. And the day before I was doing my test, I read in the trades that they had hired a black girl in a different role. And my mind immediately went, oh, they got their black girl. Like, they're not gonna pick me now to play this part because they have a black girl on the show. And it was so like, I was so down about it because I was like, I'm so close, like my test is tomorrow, but it's too late, And something in me was like, but you know what? It's in these moments when you are starting out, it's not about getting the job. It's about the impression you get to make and the relationship you get to build and the way you can build off of that. So I thought, even though this job isn't gonna happen for me because they have their black girl already, I'm still gonna go into this room and make a great impression. I'm gonna show them that I'm still a great actor. And in the waiting room of the test, it was me and 3 other women. They were all white and blonde, and then just me. And I was like, wow, like, geez, could they make it any more obvious that I'm like not the one for this? Like, okay. And I was like, whatever, you're an actor, and every opportunity you have to act is a worthy one. So I went to that room, I did my test, I had fun. I did that, and I walked out. Got in my car, drove, called my agent, was like, hey, I did a great job, I felt good about it, I'm happy, you know, let me know what they say, like, but totally like, this is not gonna happen, it's fine. Not even an hour later, got a call. Wow. They picked me. And I was just like, you're gonna have 2 black girls on this show? But that just goes to show you, you know, we create all these ideas of what something is gonna be, we have all these projections of what other people want, but we get way too focused on what we think someone else wants versus just honing in on what we should be doing. Only worry about yourself. You know, don't worry about what other people are doing or how they're thinking, or, you know, focus in on you. And that was, you know, what I got out of that moment, because I was like, oh my God. And the black girl was Kelly McCreary, and her and I met in the airport on the way to go and film the pilot for this show, lived together the whole time we were filming Emily Owens. She is one of my best friends to this day,
Sisterhood.
The sisterhood in that we had each other, and it was such a wonderful experience. I'm sorry, I told you I was going to lose track of what the question was. But I do want to also add, so that was my first series regular job, which is a huge accomplishment, because once you achieve that series regular position, it just opens up the playing field for you. Because now that is a signal to others that you can do this. And hopefully a signal to yourself that you can do this and you belong there. And I was able to go from doing that, and then the show got canceled, which, you know, that was sad, but I wasn't sad about it being canceled because I had achieved this huge feat of being a series regular on a show. So I was incredibly joyful about the experience. So then, like not even a full year later, when the opportunity to be on something in Shondaland, which, you know, was just like, oh my God, like, please God, please, you know. I felt ready. I was able to walk into that space, like, I've already proven to myself and to others that I can do this. And I you know, I was cast on that show before Viola was. They hadn't gone out to her yet. Because you know, she wasn't auditioning. That was just gonna, that was gonna be them saying, please God, please, you know, for her to take this job. And I remember once I got the job, they told me who they were going out for to play the lead on How to Get Away with Murder. And I was just like, oh, this is gonna go forever. Like, if she accepts, if she takes this, like, this will be my life for years to come. Like, and I just knew it. You know those moments when you just know that something's gonna be for me?
In your lane, that's your runway. It's life-changing.
It's life-changing. My life was changed. I'll never forget.
Well, speaking of another life-changing moment, can you actually talk about the significance of receiving your first Emmy nomination? I saw an interview and you described it as just magical. For your like first time on the carpet, you were there with your family. Can you just talk more about that day, that night?
Yes. Like, sadly, I can't limit it to just that day or night. I've got to give you the lead up. when I was working on Lessons in Chemistry, I knew that the show, that they were going to promote it heavily. I knew they were going to do a serious Emmy campaign. I didn't know how serious they were going to be about promoting me, but I knew they were going to be serious about promoting the show. And I will tell you, I was overwhelmingly surprised with all of the effort they put into promoting me. And that made me feel really special. But at the same time, I was having this feeling of, I'm afraid to want this. I was so afraid to want the Emmy nomination. I was afraid that not getting it would destroy something in me. It was really kind of scary for me, because I did want it, and I was trying to pretend like it didn't matter, like it wouldn't be the incredibly meaningful thing that it is. And I'll never forget, like, I got on a call with my therapist because I needed help with managing my big feelings, you know? And she said something to me that gave me such a source of calm and loving for myself. She quoted a poem, and the quote was, "Go to the limits of your longing." And when you read this whole poem, it's kind of just about, don't be afraid to live life in all of its fullness and terror. Allow yourself that, because that's what it is to truly be alive. Allow yourself to feel everything. So go to the limits of your longing. It was one of those moments where I was able to say to myself, it is okay to want this. It is okay to have heartbreak if it doesn't happen. And it is definitely okay to have all of the joy that you will experience if it does happen. You don't have to be afraid of that. You can go towards that. You deserve that. And so then on the day of the Emmy announcements, originally I told my husband, like, take our son, go someplace. I don't want to see you. I don't want to be around. I don't want to be seen. And I was like, no, never mind. Be with me. Hold my hand. Let's embrace this together. No matter what happens, I want us to be together in this moment. And we were watching the thing on the screen, the announcement, not knowing they don't announce supporting categories. They only do the lead categories. And I had my phone on silent, and I finally went to grab my phone because I realized I had to look it up online. And when I grabbed my phone, I had a text message from, like, my agent, my manager, like the whole team being like, congratulations on your Emmy nomination. And I just dropped the phone and screamed, and to my husband's credit, he had some champagne chilling.
All right. Cheers. Cheers to you.
And it was, but I tell you what, if it didn't happen, I would have drank that champagne either way.
That's right. No, that's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it is okay to go to the limits of your longing. We deserve to want things, even if we're afraid it will hurt us. And yeah, so all of that, just all of that, and then getting to have the experience of the Emmys day, you know, my parents being in the room with me as I'm getting ready in the hotel, and having the photographers there, and just feeling all this support and love. Like, it was utterly beautiful, and not in the sense of like something being pretty, but beautiful and like wonder, like magic, the fullness of that. Yeah.
Well, I want to get to your journey at Grosse Pointe Garden Society.
I'm so sorry.
No, this has like been amazing, but I want you to start to talk to us about how you got that role, and I want to go to some of the clips. So, how did you get to Grosse Pointe?
Ooh, I So you know, after doing lessons, which I really loved working on that, and then also like we're all seeing it, the climate of the industry right now, after the pandemic and the strike, like there's been a real, what's the word, contraction? That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, you know, and you know, with contraction can come fear that nothing's going to come along. And so I really had to sit with myself and be like, don't just go after any job, you know, because you're afraid of not working. Like you have to have integrity. You have to be pursuing the things that you actually want to do, the stories you want to explore. And when I read this script, I was laughing. I was in my feelings for Catherine.
Yes.
There was the script, the pilot episode script was just so wonderful. It delighted me so much. I just knew it was gonna be fun. And I wanted to do something that would be fun with fun people. And I knew, I think I was probably one of the last ones brought in, because I think Melissa and Anna Sophia and Ben were already there, and I knew people that knew each of them that spoke to how wonderful they were as artists. And I can't tell you how important that is, to be able to work with other people that care about their craft, that are good at taking their craft seriously, but don't take themselves seriously. Because that's the kind of working environment you want, to have the freedom of exploration, to be with people that make you feel safe. And that's what we have on this show. Like,
Such a special
it
thing.
is so special. It's so wonderful. And we just, the way we dove into this with each other, with such joy.
Or a dark comedy.
Like, we're a dark comedy, but like, it makes us laugh. Like, we're always laughing. And then they'll call action, and the way we drop in to this scene and ground it in the reality, the devastation of like this act and what we've done, like, I love witnessing like the switch, you know? Like when an actor can be like, oh yeah, so I might try to get my nails done on Saturday, and I can't believe we just did this.
Well, you're coming in the series, and Catherine's character is so interesting because she's navigating a marriage that's totally lost its spark. You all probably saw that in the trailer. But she has to have some tough conversations like surrounding this affair. So let's take a look at the clip. We'll talk about that scene. So essentially, Catherine now confesses to Birdie that she is cheating on her husband, and they realize they've been cheating with the same guy. So, as Aja said, she set it up that Gary is
The show is available on Peacock, everyone.
Yeah, so you gotta watch. Not giving too much away. But what I want to talk about in that clip particularly is just the friendship of Catherine and Birdie, and also just the importance of sisterhood on the show, because you're in a room full of women, and shout out to the men in the room too, but you're in a room full of women, and I'm just curious, how does sisterhood and community show up in your own life and career?
Wouldn't be here without it. That is how it shows up. The women that have loved on me and guided me are the only reason why I am here today. I mean, women, Black women, who have just gone out of their way to make me feel included and special and worthy. I've told this story a few times, and I'm gonna tell it here.
Please.
So I went to the Yale School of Drama, and before I started school, my mother happened to know someone that knew Angela Bassett. And one day I get a call from an unknown number on my phone. And when I listened to the message, it was Angela Bassett calling a perfect stranger to say that A, she was gonna call me back in a pickup, and that she was going to offer me some words of advice, some words of encouragement. And I will never forget this, that this woman, who's Angela Bassett, took time out to call someone she had never met, didn't know me from anyone, you know, no relation at all, like, called me out of the blue and spent half an hour to an hour with me, just talking on the phone, telling me what to expect at school and how to approach my education and just how to be an artist and how to go out into the world and walk on this path and walk towards my dreams. And it's like even more than the advice she shared, it was the act. Just the act of her taking the time to talk to me. And that has continued to happen for me every step of the way on this journey. From Viola to my other castmates. We were just talking about Ingenue Ellis Taylor, like Gabrielle Union. Like, you go to these events where there are people that are way more famous than you, and you feel insignificant in these spaces, in these rooms, and you're reminded of the gift of Black women as we seek one another out to lift each other up. You know, one of the other greatest gifts, because, you know, murder ended a few years ago, but Viola and I are both L'Oreal Paris spokespeople.
That's women of word.
Yes, we are women
it.
of word. And it's such a treat to be able to go out to these fashion shows and the red carpets and whatnot, and be there alongside her and get to hear all of her tremendous wisdom. And also to see her occupying that space has always been so meaningful to me, because it has made me feel like there's longevity in this. Because if she's still doing it, then I can still see myself doing it by the time I'm her age. You know, and that's what you want. You want to feel like you can have a career, a long career. But it would be hard to believe that if you can't see it happening. That's the other great thing about Viola. It was her idea to have Cicely Tyson come on to Murder to play her mother.
Let's give her for that. That intention.
And that was one of the most phenomenal moments of my life when we did that crossover between Murder and Scandal. And it was, we're sitting in a courtroom, and it's me, Viola, Carrie, Cicely, all in one room. And they're just sitting there in a row, and I am like gobsmacked. To be in the presence of such greatness so early on in my career, like, there is no greater gift, you know, and to see, just to get to see Viola rise to the heights that she has continued to rise to. There's no greater gift, like just the community in that, and getting to be constantly reminded just how worth it we all are is such a gift. And then to be, you know, one of the faces of a brand that its sole purpose is to promote women believing in their worth. You know, to make sure that, yeah, this face gets to say that. Looking like this in this world, occupying this space, that I get to be the presence looking back at you saying, you're worth it. Just to be a reminder to you when you look in the mirror that you are worth it, you are worthy, that you are deserving, that you belong, that you get to make your mark here, just because. It's the community that we are. I mean, look at each and every one of you in here. Looking damn fine too, might I say. Yes. You know? Like, we show up for each other. We show out for each other. And it is such a gift to be able to have that and to be part of that. So I love that this industry and the women in my family have given me that all my life, and it has only further strengthened me on this journey.
Absolutely. Wow, I love that. And I think that's like what we're here for at BWFN. So the mission of Black Women Film Network is to prepare and preserve, preparing the next generation of storytellers, but preserving the untold stories of Black women. And the stories you shared today and the story you just told are the reason why we exist here, so we can hear those to keep us going, keep us motivated. I hate to say that our time has come to an end, but before we wrap up the conversation, I do want to just show one more clip. It's a promo for your next episode. So let's take a look. And I just want to thank our partners here at the Black Women Film Network for creating this space for NBC Universal to be here today. And to continue recognizing groundbreaking women like Aja in the industry. She's getting the Accelerator Award at the luncheon today. We're very excited for that. So thank you, BWFM, for all you do for the culture. All right, everyone have a great rest of your summit, and we'll see you soon.